Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, we're going to be talking about the DUNLOP iDAPT rackets. What happened to those iDAPT rackets? Well, let me take you back to when they were first introduced. I want to say this was maybe 6 years ago now, maybe a little more, maybe 7 years ago now. When it was like top secret. This thing was top secret. They invited about 200 retailers to New Orleans, and they got us a room. We stayed a couple nights. We tested out the rackets, right? But it was top secret. Nobody told us what was going on. What kind, we all thought, oh, it's just another racket. They're whining and dining us, and then just basically saying, here's a new racket. Doesn't it look great? It plays great, doesn't it? Just like what we usually do, right? So after spending a night, having dinner with them, first thing in the morning after breakfast, we went out to hitting courts, right? So they gave us blacked out rackets. So we couldn't tell what it was, what size they were. We could tell how thick they were. We could only guess as to, it was like a pure drive probably is what we thought, because they all kind of looked like that in terms of the beam, in terms of the head size. Just envision something like this, just all blacked out, right? That's what we all thought. Oh, it's another pure drive, that's Dunlop making. This was in the middle of August, and it was like 95 degrees out in New Orleans, super humid. So we played indoors in a bubble, right, with air conditioning. We all took turns trying like the 98 version, the 100 version, the 100 tour version, and there was also a 105 square inch version, right? So again, all blacked out, didn't know what it was. All they told us was, that's the 98 court. That's the 100 court, right? That's the 100 tour court. So we all played, right? And then we all played for probably 2-3 hours, testing them all out, right? So the main questions that they were asking us during the whole time of play was, how's it play? Does it feel solid? Was it stable? Did it flex much? And all of our answers was, yeah, it's solid, it's stiff, right? It plays like a pure drive, right? It was a firm racket. It reminded me of like a Force 100, right? Dunlop Force 100. So we all went back, and it was lunchtime. We all finished lunch, and they're like, are you guys ready to see what you guys played with? And we're all like anxious to see what's going on. Okay, let's just unveil it, the Dunlop Pure Drive, right? So what they did was they had a curtain up with the whole display, right? And then they come on over here. So let's pretend this was the curtain, right? This was the curtain. They're like, this is what you played with. And you should have heard the sound of the room. Everybody went, oh, like, oh my gosh. And they're like, yes, what you played with was a racket that was originally not put together. They literally put those together that morning, is what they said. So we got the head of the racket. This is a 100S. So I forgot about this one, 100S, okay? And then you get to choose, this is your dampener. So this is like kind of a Cortex, right? So this is a cup that you can determine how much dampening you want. The green one here is the medium one. There's a blue one that's harder, that allows for more feel. This is the medium feel, and then the red one is the most dampening. So that one's the softest one. So if you want the most dampening, you would get the red one. Okay, so this is the the green, which is the medium dampening. And then you can choose your grip size, right? It started with a grip 0, which is a 4-inch grip, up to a 5/8. You can also get these 1/2 inch longer, from a 0 to a 5/8 also, right? So let's say you're a 12-year-old, you get one of these at 12 years old. As you grow, all you would need to do is get a bigger grip. What they said was, well, you all with your feedback said it felt solid, right? So we put this together this morning. It was perfectly fine, right? Just like a regular racket that was a 1-piece racket, right? Well, now it's 2 pieces. Everybody said it was solid, right? So they basically wanted to reassure you that it would feel like a firm, solid, stiff racket, all right? And then they proceeded to put one together for us. Let's do that right now. I'm gonna put one together for you right now. You need this special tool though to do it. So it's a hex key that's elongated, right? Specially made for these rackets, okay? And then your bolt, which is this bolt right here, okay? That goes right there like that, okay? Now, the first thing you would do is check grip. What size grip do you want, right? And then we would just pick the grip. Second thing we would do is which dampening shock sleeve would you like? Right. Blue being the most feel, medium feel, and then this is the soft. This is the most dampening. The red was the most dampening. Basically, let's pick the red one, right? Which is the most dampening. And all you would do, see the thing where the nut would go right in there to hold the racket in. So you would pick the dampening and put it right there like that. All right. This is just for looks, and it goes like so. Okay. You would put the grip right like so, and then you would screw it in. All right. So you would just do this until you would stop. It just this part is pretty easy. It's threaded in. So I'm tight now. So you would go 1, 2, 3, right? Just like your gas tank thing, pop, 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 right? You know it's tight. There's your iDAPT, right? This is what you were playing with today, is what they told us. Solid, right? Solid, okay? So they proceeded to, sell us the package, which I would say about 75 to 80% of the people in the room bought into, okay? It was a pre-made package, rackets, and all the sleeves, all the grips. You would definitely need the tool to make it work. They asked everybody which one they would like. So I chose a 98, right, with a 3/8 grip. And I was happy. I was like, this is like gonna revolutionize tennis and change the tennis world, right? So I came home happy as a clam, right? I got my 98, I go out and play, right? So I go out and play with one of my coworkers over here, right? She played for Dominican, #1, right? So I said, here, try this, right? After I hit with it for an hour, right? She strikes the ball hard, right? She plays really hard. She plays, she's good Division II player, right? #1, 4 years at a Division II college. She hits a forehand to me, and I guess she struck it a little high, right? And we both heard a pop. We both thought it was a broken string, right? And then when she hit another ball, she was like, I think I broke your racket. And I said, what do you mean you broke my racket? He's like, check it out. She walked up to me with it. She was like this. I'm like, oh, what happened there? All right, so I didn't play with it the rest of the session, and then I didn't think much of it, right? So I went back to the store, and it had, for some reason, loosened up. I thought it had jumped a couple of those, those screw things. What do they call that? Where it jumps the thing because you hit it too hard, jumps the thread, right? So I went back, tightened it back up, right? Played with it again the next week, and now I hit a backhand, right? And the same thing happens. I hear a pop, right? And then I was talking to my guy, and I was like, there's something wrong here. I don't think, I think there's a problem, right? And then they're like, oh, there must be a defect in that one. And I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh, that can't be good. So the one thing that I was thinking in my mind that you do in this kind of technology is you double and triple check this, right? To make sure that the innovative technology that you're doing is going to hold up to punishment, right? So I get the shipment in and I start sending them out for demos, right? So what I noticed was the big hitters, the big boys that swing hard, they're doing this to my demos. They're literally loosening up the demos, or it's jumping those threads. So I'm constantly having to tighten them back up, right? And I was like, this is gonna be a problem here, guys. We can't be doing this all the time, right? So Dunlop solution, they sent me Loctite, right? I'm like, okay. So if those of you who don't know what Loctite is, it's thread locker. So it's blue stuff that you put on the actual nut. They actually start pre-putting some of that onto these nuts, right? But then sent us more for insurance, right? So all it is just in liquid form. It's supposed to basically adhese as you're screwing in so that it doesn't come loose, right? So that worked for a little bit, and then again, the big hitters, right? They whacked off the Loctite. The Loctite got loose. Again, I kept getting these, these rackets that they weren't coming apart. They definitely were not coming apart, but they were definitely shaky. They were like doing this deal, right? Which it should never do if this is your technology, right? So after struggling with the technology for, let's say, a year, somebody came out at Dunlop with a new nut. So this was their new nut. They have a double washer on them that they claim people use in submarines. So as you put more tension on them, there's more tension pushed out on them too, so that they could never loosen up, right? So this probably worked 99% of the time. Like, I hardly got any loose ones out of this. So, but that was a year later. It's like, so basically, if you came out with this first, and before all the fails happened in the beginning, you probably would have had a better audience. But because you started off with this one, and I mean, I can't be the only one that had a bunch of fails, right? Word spreads quickly in tennis, right? I mean, they're like, oh, the gimmick didn't work, right? The rackets played well, but the gimmick didn't work. So, I mean, iDAPT, stood for individual adaptable performance, right? So, I mean, great idea, great concept, but I mean, they failed off the bat, right? If they would have just used the right nut to begin with, maybe wait another year and do it right the first time, have a little more testing done, it probably could have been around or still been around today. But as of now, the whole idea is now abandoned. So no more iDAPT. I don't see it anywhere anymore, except maybe on a secondary market like eBay, like for people who need parts. The idea of the whole thing was great, right? I would have liked to see this go forward. But I think they just put a bad taste in everybody's mouth from the start, which nobody likes, right? So the reliability of the racket basically went out the window from the start. So I hope Dunlop or somebody else, takes this and tries it again someday, because I love the idea. It just needs to be better, it just needs to better execution, right? But I mean, as of now, it's gone. All right. So that's what happened with the Dunlop iDAPTs. Thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.